Okay, we're back on the Morning Brew. First guest today on a Monday morning is Dan Mayfield. Dan is a reporter, business reporter with Albuquerque Business First. Always fun to talk to Dan. He's got his ear to the ground on a lot of stuff going on.
That's my job, Larry.
Yeah. Good to see you, Dan.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. There's all kinds of great stuff this week. We were talking about the Lovelace Blue Cross thing. That's unbelievable.
Biggest
out of
business
nowhere.
Story of the week last week.
Out of nowhere. We were surprised at the office when that happened because, you know, we thought there was going to be, especially with the expansion of Medicare, with new Obamacare stuff coming in, everything else, we thought if anything, it would broaden the market. And instead now we've just got two major HMOs, managed health organizations now. We've only got two. Yeah. And that's literally as close as you can get to a monopoly without being a monopoly.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we were expecting this giant expansion, expecting a lot more money, a lot more people to become enrolled, a lot more companies to start because of it. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this happens. And it was interesting.
Consolidation.
That's exactly it.
Cost cutting.
That's exactly it. Well, you know, economies of scale in healthcare are important. And, you know, the larger you are, the more you can wrap into that, you know, especially with all the new hospitals Lovelace has built through the years. Yeah. Now there's, you know, going to be even that many more doctors available. So there are benefits to it. You know, we don't know exactly how it's all going to work out yet, but you know, they're saying nothing's going to change, especially when it comes to people's health care plans, and they're saying nothing's going to change in terms of the number of employees they have.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Let's hope so. And but there will be, because of the Medicare expansion and because of Obamacare coming in, there will be several hundred more healthcare jobs in the state anyway. So we're going to be okay on that front. But it's an interesting thing to come out of nowhere, really. In our mind.
I think Advent, who owns Lovelace, was looking at. They say we're in the medical care business, but we have this insurance company over here, and it's got value.
Absolutely.
To it, so let's put a for sale sign on it and see if anybody wants it.
That's it.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and people wanted it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, it's kind of like when General Motors had its GMAC for credit. You know, when you have the companies that are bringing in actual cash, it makes sense.
It's a very attractive business property to own.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And you know, it's got a great rep around Albuquerque. People know the company. People know it's done good work for a long time. So it makes perfect sense. You know, it's a smart acquisition in many ways. So yeah.
So what else is happening around Albuquerque in the news?
All kinds of great stuff and some weird stuff. So I came across this report a couple weeks ago from the Brookings Institute, and what they did was they looked at the top 100 metros, and they decided to see which of the top metros were rebounding the best from the recession, from the trough to the current, and Albuquerque ranked 89th. And I was like, why? I thought we were doing much better than that. You know, you talk to the mayor, you talk to the economic development folks around town. We're growing jobs. There's new businesses moving in. We just had a big win a couple weeks ago with Canon coming in. Great stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff we can certainly be proud of. And I think there were 1,700 jobs created in the metro area last year. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
But other metro areas our size, Grand Rapids, Michigan, created like 6,000 jobs last year.
Wow.
You know, it's a metro area just about our same size. Austin, Texas, it's unbelievable. They have 26% growth over the last 4 years.
Oh my God.
Through the middle of the recession, they were growing. So I called up these guys. I called up the economic developers.
Way to go. Pick up the phone, Dan.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm a reporter. That's what I do, right? You know? So I called up the guys in the 6 of the top 10 cities that kind of most related to Albuquerque, you know? In Austin, Phoenix, Grand Rapids, just said, what are you guys doing? How did you rebound so much better than Albuquerque? And they all had interesting, crazy ideas, and a lot of them were based on broadening their economy. I know when I was here a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the diversity of New Mexico's and Albuquerque's economy, that we're not a manufacturing state, we're not a exporting state, we're what do you call an eds and meds economy, something based on education and medicine, which goes along with the Lovelace Blue Cross thing. You know?
Sure.
That's a major, major industry here. And those are not industries that really expanded a lot. You know, people went to school, but there weren't 20% more people going to school.
Yeah.
People got sick, but not 20% more people got sick. So those industries didn't grow quite like others did. So Albuquerque's economy is a little stagnant compared to others. But Austin really isn't much different. They don't have a strong manufacturing base. So what they did about 10 years ago was throw millions of dollars. In fact, they wrapped in the cultural services department in the city into the economic development office.
Oh.
And they have 100 people in this one office that built up the cultural services of the city to make it a hip place to live.
That's
to
pretty
attract
cool.
people. Yeah, it's a smart move.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. And they can claim 49,000 creative jobs
Wow.
in Austin.
Not bad.
Created new jobs over the last 10 years just because of that. And what that does is it makes it a hip town, a town you want to move to, a town you want to be in, especially for the high-tech workforce, you know, the young high-tech workers that you want to attract and create. And it made it a great place to live, so people moved there, people started companies there, and it jump-started the whole economy and made it a great place to be. And it's also in Portland, same thing. And they put a lot of money behind their cultural department and also in making the city walkable and denser. And
Yes.
Albuquerque, especially throughout the early 2000s, expanded west, expanded east, expanded south. And Portland went the absolute opposite direction and instead did infill work. And made the city an easily walkable place with great public transportation where you don't need a car. And one of the things the economic developers there told me was that if you don't need a car, that's basically, you know, $20,000 you got in your pocket to spend on everything else, like creating a company.
Yeah.
So these places had some really great ideas, and I loved it. So I kind of chronicled all of these cool ideas that these different places
I love
had.
that.
One of the coolest ones in my mind was one of the things that Portland did. They took $1 million of public money, leveraged it into $3.6 million, and created their own publicly funded venture capital firm. And that's one of the things, New Mexico has a problem with it too. When entrepreneurs went to the city about 5 years ago and they said, what do you guys need? And they said, we need access to capital.
Yeah.
Banks aren't really lending for startups right now, but we don't have enough venture capital firms. And the city said, sure, we'll start our own. So they started their own, it's basically an angel funding fund. And you know, if we could do something like that here, it could be amazing, because that is one of the things we have not had access to
That's
capital
very
for startups here. To use public money to do it, and they used $1 million of public money, and when other investors saw that the city had some skin in the game, they said cool, and $2.6 million more came in because of it. And they've created 36 companies and 250 jobs with a $1 million investment.
Not
That's
bad.
Not bad at all.
You know, to risk $1 million is what they essentially did.
That's exactly it.
In the grand scheme of things, that's not very much money.
No.
For
them, it is for us. And this
Right.
is the difference.
Yeah.
So the city of Portland has about $100 million, the state of Oregon, has about $100 million for economic development.
Right.
New Mexico, we have several different programs that all together maybe have 20 million in them across the entire state. Albuquerque has the $5 million EDACT fund, which is clawback funds from the shot solar debacle. And and it's one-time money that could disappear at any time. And so you're looking at that, and there's about $10 million this year in job training funds. And there's a couple other little incentive programs. But when you're comparing that to Austin, Texas alone, that has a $72 million closing fund for the city of Austin, you can't compete. You know, so we've got to do things differently. So I was looking for those different ideas, like that cool city-funded venture capital fund. You know, things we could be trying here, best practices, as you put it.
Yeah.
You know?
What you need to do is have a meeting with the city and say, "Hey guys, what do you guys think about this?"
Well,
and
you know,
see
I
how
talked.
they react.
Well, I did talk to him.
Oh, you
yeah.
did?
Oh,
What-
yes,
what
that's
was
what
the
reporters do.
reaction?
And, well, you know, the city said that basically it's a money thing.
Yeah.
You know, when there are so many other programs that we have to fund in the state, it's hard for them to justify spending so much more on economic development, and so they split it up. You know, but the differences are, the city of Albuquerque has basically one guy. His name is Bob, and he's awesome, doing retention and recruitment work here. You know, he's the guy who, you know, your company threatens to move, and he's the guy that moves in and says, no, I'll
Wait a
help you get,
second.
these are the reasons you should stay in Albuquerque. We got like one guy doing that, essentially.
Oh.
And
And Austin has 100 people.
yeah, Phoenix has 26. And that's one of the major differences.
Yeah.
And, you know, Gary Tonjes, the director of the nonprofit Albuquerque Economic Development,
Right.
you know, their guys help a lot. There's 23 people that work there. It's not a bad sized organization
Sure.
for an MSA of about 1 million people, when you consider Albuquerque as as a metro area of 1 million people. Not bad. City of Austin has 120.
Wow.
It's unbelievable the differences, you know, and it's simply a money issue when it comes down to it, you know, and that was what the city and state developers told me, was that if we had a lot more money, we could do a lot more. So they're trying to do a lot more with less and thinking out of the box here in
Right.
Albuquerque. And so we're trying to do things, you know, we had some big wins last year with the tax package that lowered the corporate income tax, reduced permitting a couple of years ago. That was a big deal. Single sales factor taxation was another big deal last year. And those all make Albuquerque and New Mexico much more attractive to companies, but we still don't have that young, hip, high-tech workforce you're looking for in places like Austin or Portland. And they have similar tax structures and similar incentives that we do.
I'm going to dive into this story. This is excellent stuff.
Well, thank you.
I've always felt that, we don't have to invent ideas. We can go borrow them from other people that are already doing it.
There's a bunch out there. It's great.
It's not that hard, and you've done a great job with this.
Well, thanks.
Dan, thanks for being on the show.
Anytime, guys.
This is
Anytime.
really awesome. I love that kind of work. All right, well, that's a good start to the business week. Dan Mayfield with us from Albuquerque Business First. It's an excellent read. Look it up online or pick up the paper version. Up next, we'll keep it on the business vein. Stacy Sacco will be with us. We'll network our way into it after this.